Welcome to Dollars and Cents with Frugal Freddy, where we talk about all money things with a human touch. Make sure you like and subscribe to get the latest episode of the show. Today I have a very, very special guest and the OG in the financial services industry, Miss Sandra Moody Gresham.
Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Welcome to the show.
Good to see you and thank you for inviting me.
I know it's been a long time coming. When I was building the show, I was looking for people that I wanted on the show, and you was one of them.
Thank you.
So thank you for making time out your busy day to come chop it up with us on Dollars and Cents.
Well, you know, when you call, I respond.
Oh, stop it. Before we jump in, can you share a little bit about your background, how you got started in financial services and insurance and all those things?
Sure. So I'm a native of Chicago.
Okay.
And left Chicago right out of high school and went to Minnesota, McAllister College in St. Paul, Minnesota. But there I worked. I worked in a couple banks, and the one that was most impactful was I worked in the trust vault of the bank. Literally a vault in the basement, no windows, money, stock certificates, bonds. So what my job was to clip the interest coupons off of bonds. So this is way old school, back, late 70s, early 80s. So literally those coupons were worth dollars, and we mailed those every quarter, every month to the owner of the bond. So I was like, how do you get these coupons sent to you? So I just started getting intrigued by the whole thing. And I was like, listen, I want to understand these stocks and bonds, and I want to own some. And so by now I'm about a junior or senior in college. It was too late to change my major. So I went to grad school in finance. And ended up getting an MBA in finance because I'm like, I need to understand this money thing.
Yeah, I feel you.
But anyway, moved here, fast forward, moved to Columbus, got my first job doing mutual fund sales. As an independent contractor. Didn't really understand that I was an entrepreneur at that time, but we had to eat what we killed. So that's when I did a lot of financial education to the community, because I understood they didn't understand it, right? So it was a lot of educational workshops that helped build the business. And then I didn't know people. I was new to Columbus, so I didn't have a built-in market. But from there, just built a relationship with a couple other colleagues, and we purchased a franchise of Money Concepts International.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Money Concepts was really the value they gave us was the contracts with the insurance companies and the investment companies, where you didn't have to go out and shop that and create those relationships on your own. So I worked with partners for about 12 years. That partnership dissolved, and I just stood up Dehan Enterprises at that time. So the staff came with me, and I learned that the insurance and investment companies follow the producer. So I negotiated to stay at my same compensation levels, and they said yes. And I changed the name, got a new tax ID number, and then hunted my clients down to build that business. So this year, Dehan is 25 years old.
I was about to ask you that. How long you been? 25 years.
This company's 25 years old. We do all lines of insurance. So we do employee benefits. We do commercial and business insurance. We do financial planning, which is just the individual life and retirement planning products. And we do a lot of financial literacy training.
Yes, you do.
And the other line we do is fidelity, surety, and contract bonds.
I actually got a business policy when I was doing vending machines.
That's right. One of our clients.
Yes. So I talk it and I do it in real life.
You live it. That's right.
So with all that how you got started with your career, was there one thing that really sparked, I want to get into financial services. I want to get into insurance. And I think that's one of the things I really want to drive home is how important insurance is. But was there anything along your journey early on in your career, this was a thing that made me want to get into this industry?
Yeah. So the banking experience really helped me shift my mindset to financial services. But then, as you know, financial services is such a broad arena.
It is.
You just got to figure out what you want to do. So the experience with the investment side, we started. A colleague said you should look at life insurance, right? Because you can make more money, and you kind of round it off. And so as I started exploring, and me new to the business, not having a good network that people who had money, right? So $1,000 mutual fund sale is like $30, but $1,000 life insurance sale is $500.
Okay.
I said, well, maybe I need to start selling some more of this life insurance, right?
And we need it too.
And we need it, right? So as we moved along, we got certified as a minority business and women-owned business, but we saw opportunities coming on the insurance side. So it's like, I just need to focus because we just need to pivot and just focus on insurance, because that's where opportunities start coming for us. And then to your point, it was a great need, right? Everybody needs it.
Definitely.
And so we got a wide market.
And I think that's the one thing, being Frugal Freddy, you see all these people on social media, especially the people that I serve as more the millennial demographic. And I think sometimes we forget about insurance, like how important that is. And I remember when I met you, you always talk about risk management. Like we all can make money, but if we're not managing our risk or hedging against our risks, I mean, what's the point of doing it all? Like, do you have any thoughts around that, around risk management?
Yeah, exactly. You think about, number one, insurance ain't sexy.
It ain't.
Right.
It ain't
Nobody want to talk about insurance.
It's not at all.
And I use the adage, it's like toilet paper. You don't miss it till it's not there. Then you're like, am I covered for that? Did I pay my premium? Right. But it's one of those foundational things, because your house will fall over without the insurance. Because we like investing.
Yes.
You can't invest unless you learn how to save. Right. And then let one calamity happen. You get sick and disabled. So now you got to liquidate your savings or your investments to maintain living expenses, right? But disability income replaces lost income, right? So it is that foundational piece that, listen, it stands up America. It stands up America. You go back. I also teach insurance, right, at Franklin. That I wanted that to be my retirement gig, but I started it like 20 years ago. But we talk about every major event in America is an insurance event. So when you look at 9/11, when the planes, that's an insurance event. So all of those buildings collapsing, the lives that were lost, right? The property that was damaged, the lost revenue because businesses couldn't operate. All of that's insurance. Right? Flood, all this flood we got going on in America, and homeowners insurance don't cover flood. So that's an insurance event. So you can look at every major calamity in America, insurance is tied to it.
And it's crazy you say that. So a couple of weeks ago here in Columbus, we had some crazy storms, and my neighbor's tree fell down. It barely missed my car. And to your point, for that owner, that home was an insurance event for them. Then I'm thinking like, what if it would hit my car?
It's an insurance event for you too, because now your car insurance would be triggered.
Yeah. So like, I never thought about it like that. And once that happened, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, let me make sure I got my stuff in order just in case something else happens again. Yeah,
and that homeowner whose tree fell on your property, her homeowner's insurance is responsible. For your damage.
It was her tree.
Yes, right. Okay. If it had hit your car. But you also have car insurance, right?
Correct.
So it would have repaired or replaced it as well. So we just don't have the education around insurance. I love it because there's always a new product coming out because of how America functions, right? And how society and individuals act. So when you mentioned the recent incident in Columbus, I thought you were going to say the cyber attack that the city just had.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right.
You can buy cyber liability insurance that does forensics about what went wrong, but also provides lost revenue if you cannot operate.
I came across a policy like that for like small businesses, to your point, lost revenue. I wonder how much the premium is on that. Is that a lot?
Well, a lot of it's baked in. You buy you buy property and it might be baked in. You just, there's a lot of ancillary small coverages that come with insurance.
Okay, we might have to talk because with this duplex, just in case I have lost rent or something, maybe, like vacancy and whatnot.
Yes. Or if they can't occupy it, if your tenant can't occupy it because of, a fire, storm, what have you, you still get rental income because you may have a mortgage on it, right? So that income can still come in.
Okay, I'm about to set up a consultation.
Yes.
So in all these great years of experience that you've been, agency owner in the financial industry, what has been some like highlights or like pivotal moments? Like, you know what, I got it. Or, hey, I'm a pillar in the community. I do consider you a pillar in the community. So
thank you.
What was like one of that one moment, like, you know what, this is it?
Yeah. So I think it was two things. When I had a partner back with the first agency I mentioned, I had partners in that. When we bid and got our first contract with the city, we did the life insurance benefit for all city employees.
Really? Wow.
So, and that's a bidding process and that, we learned we were just as competitive. We had to kind of fight a little for it to show others we were competitive. But we were successful at that bid. We rebid it. So we were on it like 7 years. That's right? Awesome. So it says, we know how to do this, and we have competitive markets, and then having good carriers to work with you, right? One of the things in challenging the industry, there's not a lot of Black agency owners. There's not a lot of Black professionals doing commercial insurance, right? Or working with municipalities and large corporate. Though we need more, right? And that's where the opportunities are. But, being Black in America, you always still have to prove yourself and that you're competent and capable. But the insurance companies we work with also have to believe in us.
I agree.
Right? Because we're carrying and representing their product. So we need them. But that City of Columbus contract was powerful. And then shortly after that, we bid, and we got the Nationwide Arena. We did it while it was under construction. So we did the builder's risk is what's that called. So we've had the opportunity to work on some large projects. That's awesome. As well as the everyday mom and pop.
Hey, and I love that where you do more, the commercial and the personal. So that's pretty good. And my story, I just started, I work at a Fortune 100 company here in Columbus, and I just started in the commercial lines spot, doing consulting, and there's a whole new ball game over there. But like you said, it's like the foundation of America. You need these small businesses for the country to run, and you need insurance to protect and, be there for risk management and all that. So that's awesome. So with the insurance industry, and like you said, it's not the most sexiest thing, but it's one of the most important things to have in your financial playbook. What are some other misconceptions of insurance that you think people should challenge their own thinking when it comes to insurance industry or just insurance products in general? Well,
one of the primary myths, particularly when we talk about life insurance, is that consumers think it costs too much. And only about 50% of Americans have life insurance, right? Which is why GoFundMe is so popular. And I need to say, GoFundMe is not life insurance.
It's not.
Right?
I can't stand when I see those.
It's just, it's irresponsibility. That's what it reflects. That you're not taking care of your own family.
Yes, it is.
But one of the major reasons so few people have life insurance is because they think it costs too much. But, the examples I use to keep it simple is that, it's cheaper than for women getting their hair done every week. Okay.
Ooh, you touched something right there.
The mani and pedis. Okay. Around the golf.
Yeah.
All right. And I read the other day, a gentleman said, he's in financial services too. He said it's cheaper than 3 drinks at happy hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So to protect your family.
Yeah.
So we think it's cost too much and we never look at it.
Yeah.
Right. We never get a quote to see what it looks like for us.
Yeah.
And I think the other issue we see a lot is, though many people are covered through their employer, they don't know what that looks like.
And that's really to protect the employer and not your family.
Yeah. I mean, if it's one-time salary, that's what you got. Mm-hmm. But when you walk away from that job or asked to leave, so does your insurance,
True.
right?
That's
Your insurance ends. So it's important they have their own, but understand what you have, right? I was speaking to someone the other day. Well, I do have something at work. Well, what do you have at work? You need to know. Yeah. Then how does your family know?
Yep.
You don't know. Yep. So if you die, your family don't even know where to start or what they can expect.
Yeah. And I think that's the one thing, like all the people that I serve, I said, know your numbers and know all the things there where you can, if something happens, they can access that information.
Mm-hmm. And your family knows those information.
True that. So you said something about 1 time your salary typically is with your employer. Outside of your employer, how much is it? 10 times your salary, 5 times, or what would you recommend?
So the industry, it's interesting, was recommending those what we call multiples of salary with like 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. After 9/11, it went to 10.
Really?
Right? The projection was 10. But that's a simple way to come up with a value. Mm-hmm. Right? And it just says, that your family can maintain a standard live for the next 10 years. Yeah. But is that really enough?
Yeah.
Right? That's just one model, one example.
True.
So there are what we call needs analysis, which really does assessment on what's unique about your family, what's your personal goals. If you didn't make it home tonight, what would you want your family, how would you want your family to maintain their standard of living? So it takes into consideration debt, if there's mortgage, car loans, if your desire is to pay college tuition for your children, retirement for your surviving spouse or widow, right? So a needs analysis is much more in depth to come up with that exact number, and then it subtracts the life insurance you currently have, the residual income you may have from other investment vehicles, to get you to a more accurate assessment on what your need is. And it's different for everybody. Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing, when people think about life insurance, and I know it's Life Insurance Awareness Month this month, and, it's going to be a lot of content out there. Oh, you need to get a whole life. You need to get a term. You got to get this. You got to get that. And I always say, hey, just start with the basics. Start with getting the term policy while you're young, so you can kind of navigate from there and then work with a professional to kind of help you navigate if a whole life policy is right for your situation versus on what you hear on social media. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I'll tell you, all of them will pay when you submit a death certificate. So have some, right?
That's guaranteed.
Right. As long as it's active, as long as the policy's active, you submit a death certificate, they will pay.
Or your family submitted, or
your family. But I agree with you. Just start somewhere. And term is the least expensive. Yeah. I equate it to car insurance. A car insurance policy only pays if there's an incident. Yeah. All right. Term insurance only pays if death occurs. Yeah. So we protect our cars, but we're not protecting our lives. Yeah. All right.
Our most valuable asset is our life.
That's right.
And I always tell people
and our potential to earn income.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
That's the other one, right? Yeah, and that's disability.
Okay.
Right. Because nothing works if you ain't making no money.
True that.
All right. So you protect your income with disability, and you protect your life and future with life insurance.
I like how you broke that down. I want to make a slight pivot here. I know there's something you're just starting outside of just your financial services called the B Fund.
Yes.
So what can you just tell us the audience about just the origins of the B Fund, why it was founded, and what's the the purpose of the B Fund?
Sure. So I am a member of the National Association of African American Insurance Agents, which was founded actually here in Columbus.
Oh, was it?
By Mr. Gerald Tillman, and now it's a national organization. So attending the conference last year was here in Ohio, in Columbus. And there's a colleague of mine who lives out in Connecticut, really has been instrumental in supporting young people and introducing African-American young people to the industry. Right. So she brought, I think of maybe 10 or 12 students from a couple of the HBCUs to our conference. And then during dinner, we learned that the finances to support that, folks around the table have made contributions to get those students here. So I'm like, we need to do a more sustainable method to support introducing young people to the industry, those who are in, helping them get designations and certifications, helping them attend conferences. So we decided just that sitting around the table, we said, listen, let's create this fund to support African Americans in the industry, to expose young people to the industry and those who are in it to help elevate them, right, through association membership, credentials, et cetera. So it's funny. So right there, they start talking about, let's call it the B Fund or the Black Fund. I'm like, okay. The B Fund. So we work with the Columbus Foundation, where the fund is housed, and beginning to make ask for donations to support that work. So it is a new organization, new venture, and you can learn about it simply just going to columbusfoundation.org and then just search the B Fund, B, the initial B.
And I remember when
Thanks for sharing that one.
Oh, no problem. I remember when you said.
And thank you for volunteering to serve on our advisory committee.
I didn't want to say that, but thanks for the opportunity. And when you presented the opportunity to me, I'm in an insurance agency or insurance industry. Historically, I've been in accounting or internal audit or banking. And I wish I would have known a little bit more about insurance. I think I probably would have went that route. Because these insurance companies making some money. They're making some money. And it's not all about money, but it's just so interesting. Like once you really dive into insurance, like you said, it's not sexy. And sometimes it's kind of boring, but once you get into like the more specialized parts, like, this is pretty interesting.
It is interesting.
It's pretty interesting. So I'm excited to be on the board. I'm excited to see what we do. If someone want to support the B Fund, you said go to
columbusfoundation.org and then just search the B Fund.
Okay. Yeah. Check that out, y'all.
You can make contribution and learn more about it.
Okay. Definitely. So we're rounding down third base. What tips or advice would you have for someone, that's looking to get life insurance or any other type of insurance out there, like type of agent or whatever the case may be, the products, the services, and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think those who have employers, you want to start there.
True.
Because there's a lot of benefit offerings at reduced prices because it's group. Right. And then if you end up with a career there, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, the some of your coverage and benefits can be there. So coming up, we're moving into last quarter. This is where health insurance is all being reviewed, renewed in open enrollment. Right. So go to the open enrollment meeting, ask the questions about all of the benefit offerings and see what makes sense for you and your family, because you want to know about it. You want to understand it. And it's often a less expensive way to get coverage. But then outside of work, have a conversation with an insurance professional just to explore other coverage options. I do advise everybody have coverage outside of work because you don't control what's at work. You might show up and don't have that job tomorrow. Right? Are
you talking about life or are you talking about like health and other?
All of them. If they offer medical, you usually get a richer benefit through a group plan at work.
Okay.
But there is also a marketplace or the Obamacare plans, which open enrollment begins November 1st through January 15th.
Okay.
And that's for anybody who doesn't have coverage. And many of those, the discounts are based on income. So there are people paying $10,
really?
For health insurance.
Wow.
If your income's less than about $25,000, $30,000, you can pay under $50.
Wow.
For full major medical.
Which that was how much I paid.
So get some medical insurance, right? From work or, the marketplace is available. So work with, work with a life insurance professional, get some life insurance outside of work. And then make sure your family is educated around life insurance, because those who are most successful often have to pay for those who didn't prepare.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've been in places where I'm called to make a pay towards someone's final expenses. Right. So the others have. We don't want to be in that position.
Yeah. And we're not doing no more GoFundMes. And that's one thing that I told myself, especially for my family, like, I can't be out here as Frugal Freddy. And I'm not saying my family has GoFundMes right now, but I want to be very proactive, like you said earlier, where if I'm serving my family, hey, here's some ways to get life insurance too. So we're not doing the GoFundMes or scraping around some money just to, have someone's final expenses paid, where we can just grieve that person and not worry about the money.
Yeah. So. And we need to ask the question of each other in our family.
We do.
So we don't talk enough. We don't have these dinner table conversations. However, I think going back to that would be valuable. But somehow had a conversation with your sibling, like, you got life insurance?
Yeah.
What happens if something happens to you, right? And we just need to ask that of our parents, our siblings, because we hold stuff so close to the chest. And what they say is when something happens to you, everybody learns your business. Okay.
That's real.
So
That's real.
You might as well tell them.
Yeah.
Now.
They'll find out anyway.
That's right. But if the answer is I do not have it, then help them.
Yeah.
Acquire something that meets their budget.
Yeah.
Because we need to take care of each other. And when we talk about generational wealth, it starts with leaving assets behind, not leaving debt behind.
Yeah. No, I feel like we can have that on the T-shirt, because man,
exactly.
We're not leaving debt behind. We're leaving assets. No, that's good. So how can people get in contact with you? You have a website, a phone number, email that you want to share?
So yes, our office is right here in Columbus.
Downtown Columbus.
Just east of downtown.
You're right.
East of downtown. We can be downtown.
Yeah.
But our website is Dehan, Dehan, insurance.com. Dehaninsurance.com. And our office number is 614-238-3520.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again.
We'd love to hear from you.
Nah, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you, because I know we talked about, when we've developed our relationship, having someone that's been in the industry for the time that you've been in there and all the experience, and you're always willing to help and educate, like someone like me, and really trying to, minimize that generational gap. You know what I mean? I remember the first event that I came to, you wanted the floor and we gave you the mic. And it was the fire event. I don't know if you remember. And we were just talking about it. And you just encouraged all the young people to get started now. So I always will remember that. And I always appreciate, all the work that you do for the community.
Well, you're welcome. I think that's part of my responsibility. Make sure folks coming behind me are better.
Yeah. So thanks again. And we'll see you guys. Bye-bye.